crowds flocked to see if his latest stunt would end up being his last.
That's actually crazy. Are people then there because they want to see him succeed? Or are people there because they want to see him fail?
Damn it. This is it. Oh, maybe not.
There has to have been people in there that were like, oh yeah, I hope he dies. That's crazy.
June 23rd is my 5-year anniversary as a content creator and VTuber. And to celebrate, I'm launching 2 limited makeshift campaigns. After the Lucy plushie, we now finally have the Cypress plushie as well. I also have the Cypress and Lucy enamel pin set for you. Both campaigns start on June 23rd and will only be available for 3 weeks ending on July 15th. You better be fast. If you'd like the plushie or the pins or both, make sure to grab them while you can at makeshift.com/VTuberCypress. Thank you all so much for supporting me over the years. None of this would be possible without any of you. Hi YouTube, welcome back in hell. My name is Cypress, and if you didn't know yet, I stream live on Twitch. So if you'd like to see me play games or hang out with me in my community, or you would like to say in chat that you didn't know I stream live, go to twitch.tv/VTuberCypress, and I hope to see you there next time. Today we'll be watching another video by chat history. This is the dumbest deaths in history that actually happened.
Whether you're a deli worker or a sexually deprived mortician, you gotta love getting your hands on some
That second one was crazy. That came out of nowhere.
cold meat, and the prime gentleman that was
You're getting your hands on some cold... Oh, I thought he said gold meat. Whew. But also, what?
Sir Francis Bacon was no exception to that questionable rule. Francis Bacon was a man of science. In fact, he's considered to be one of the founders of modern science. Born as a tiny little strip back in 1561 in London, Bacon was a sickly little sprite and was always easily susceptible to illness.
Okay.
Remember that for later. Although he was a frail
He's very susceptible to illness. Gotcha.
fellow, he was born into a wealthy, noble family. His father was a powerful politician, and his mother was highly educated, which, during Tudor times in England, was weird for women. Nevertheless,
Yeah, I was about to say, like, what was she special?
his fortunate family situation afforded him an extensive education while he laid in bed,
Francis Bacon learned to read good and learned other stuff good too.
grossly coughing up gooey globs.
Oh, ew.
Between the bouts of illness, however, Bacon had a profound proclivity for the sciences. At just 12 years old, he attended the prestigious Trinity College at the University of Cambridge to make himself smarter. In doing so, though, he started to get pretty peeved with how things were being done within the scientific community. He noticed that all these smarty pants people at the time kind of just sat around philosophizing on rather abstract aspects of the world instead of gathering evidence through practical experimentation.
How boring.
I say, have you ever wondered why we're here on this earth? I don't know. Have you ever wondered why your eyes are so far apart?
Oh, you didn't have to do that, man. You didn't have to burn him like that. He didn't even do anything to you. He was just asking a question. You attacked him personally. That's crazy.
Okay, rude.
Exactly.
This sense of scientific stagnation, he thought, was just
but
holding
like, I need to know.
humanity back from figuring out what really matters and what would actually
Would you still love me
benefit society
if I was a war? Oh, that's an important question, though. Would you, though?
This sense of scientific stagnation, he thought, was just holding humanity back from figuring out what really matters and what would actually benefit society
He has a point, though.
as a whole. Now keep in mind, these were the early years of the scientific revolution in Europe, so his ideas were on par with the flow of scientific thought at the time. But if you wanted to spend time experimenting with and revolutionizing a whole-ass branch of science, you're gonna need to spend money. Lots of money. Francis just needed to get his little English mitts on some moolah. Taking advantage of his lineage and prowess, he began rubbing elbows with some major political powers. He even befriended Queen Elizabeth I herself before she crusted away into dust. He quickly rose to the ranks and established himself as a prominent political figure, eventually reaching the title of Lord Chancellor of all England in 1618. In case you're unaware, that's like the highest position of power outside of being the king or queen.
Oh, yeah. Very impressive.
Adapting his scientific method to politics,
Baconian method and such.
Bacon aimed to untangle legal knots and simplify laws, modernizing England's judicial system and sluggish legal processes. He did it. Guilty! Huh? Although his political career was flourishing, it ended rather abruptly. How? Well, you remember he needed a bunch of money, right? So ask yourself, How do politicians end up a whole lot richer than their salaries could ever possibly provide?
Doing something illegal?
Corruption. Yep, Bacon took a bunch of bribes.
Yes.
So he was ousted and quickly kicked from
Naturally.
court in
What a butthole, nobles say. The bribed butthole.
1621 after a hefty fine and a brief stay in the Tower of London. While he had been dabbling with it on the side, Bacon was now free to pursue his passion for science full time. He always let his scientific mind wander and wonder, always thinking up practical solutions that affected real people. Well, as fate would have it, one of his potential solutions became a real problem. While traveling in a snowstorm in 1626,
And he was a very, very sickly child, right?
Francis stared out into the icy conditions over yonder, pondering the practicality of snow for natural refrigeration purposes. You know,
Why is the snow like that?
normal thoughts. He was then hit with an idea.
Oh, why did I think he would get sicker because of the cold?
Snow is cold and foodstuffs like meat usually last longer
Oh
when
my god, he's gonna make a refrigerator?
cold, so could snow make meat cold for longer food life? It was worth a try. Francis then leapt from his carriage into the blustery blizzard and moseyed on up to a wobbly, withering woman holding a chicken. Chicky picky, chicky picky, chicky picky,
Aw,
chicky picky.
cute.
Hello.
Wait, that wasn't cute anymore. Take it back.
Francis promptly stripped the chicken and proceeded to cram and jam fistfuls of snow into the gaping poultry hole to test his theory. Over the next several days, he would have his answer. But unbeknownst to him, the next several days were all he had left. Remember how he was pretty susceptible to the icky sickies when he was a wee
Okay, there
lad?
we have it.
Well, that persisted into adulthood. So, all frigid and fragile, the immunocompromised Francis had succumbed to a cold, which quickly escalated to full-blown
there we
pneumonia.
go.
Bacon went belly up just a
I mean, that's not nice, but yeah.
few days later. In his last flickers of life, he confirmed his experiment to be a success. Snow do make chicken cold. Hi, Ron. Huh? Do I know you? No, but I know you, Ronald J. Fartknocker, born June 20th, 1990 at 420 Blazed Avenue, Blue Ball, Pennsylvania. What the fuck? Are you sick and tired of always getting your
Personal info don't touch unless you're me.
personal information yoinked without your permission?
Oh,
That happens more
yes,
than
all
you
the
think.
damn
You put in
time,
the details
yes.
when trying to access your favorite lewd dessert site.
Only flops!
Only to find yourself spammed with annoying calls and emails from anonymous wastes of space.
Oh, yeah, I
Your
hate
name,
that.
number, address, elbow length, all vital information that you try to keep
How the f do they know that? I don't even know my elbow length.
close to your heart. Feed me. Well, you can kick those companies right in the nethers with today's sponsor,
hell yeah.
Incogni. Incogni is a
Incogni.
service that exercises your right as an individual to have your data removed, and boy howdy is it easy. Populate some basic details, and Incogni scans the deepest cesspits of the internet and submits data removal requests on your behalf.
Cut it
I've
out
actually
now.
been using Incogni for almost 2 years now, and they have removed my data from 100 sites. You can even use the custom removal feature to target specific sites. Suck it, scammers.
Suck it.
So, if you want to wipe your slate clean, try Incogni today using code CHAT to get 60% off of an annual plan at incogni.com/chat. Solid deal. Incogni even offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Not happy? Not a problem. All right, back to it.
Alan Pinkerton. I mean, that was not. I mean, I guess it's kind of dumb, as in dying because you have a cold in general. It just feels like unfair, I guess. But it wasn't that dumb. But I guess that's why it's the first one that we saw.
You don't have to be an expert to be an expert. Something that Mr. Alan Pinkerton quickly found out
You don't need to be an expert to be an expert.
as he became a prominent figure during the most
Alright.
tumultuous times in American history. Now, despite being remembered for his American antics, Pinkerton was actually Scottish. Aye. He was born in Glasgow, Scotland in 1819, but fled to the States in his young adulthood. With only a few low-poly coins in his pocket, he purchased a low-poly horse and wagon to set out
What?
and seek his fortune. Nay.
Can
Desperate
I also get that?
for work, he took up a job as a cooper for a brewery in Chicago. Oh, what's a cooper? Well, it's someone who makes wooden casks and containers. Not very exciting, but with bills needing to be paid, he was kind of bent over a barrel. After a few years of building wooden cylinders, Pinkerton left the city to begin a humble life in the countryside. He built himself a cabin and started his own barrel making business since that was his only skill. But one day while he was out whacking his wood, he saw something he shouldn't have. A band of counterfeiters were counterfeiting some counterfeit money. which is illegal.
They were counterfeiting some counterfeiting money.
But instead of immediately running to the authorities, Pinkerton
He was like, wait a minute, let me join.
instead studied their movements and patterns, mapping out their entire operation. After a few weeks, he handed in his very detailed report over to the local sheriff.
Okay.
Son,
I thought he was taking notes on how to do it.
this is beautiful. Golly, looks just like me. With the intelligence in hand, the sheriff made the arrest. This single event gave Pinkerton a real chubster for criminal detective work, which in 1849 led to him becoming the first police detective in Chicago and the
Oh, that's why he's an expert without actually being an expert.
forming of his very own Pinkerton National Detective Agency, which still operates to this day.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Under Pinkerton, the agency thwarted the evil deeds of many train robberies, vandals, swindlers, and thieves alike over the next several years, all while laying down the groundwork for modern investigative principles and gaining national fame. But then, in 1861, the American Civil War broke out because of states' rights. Just kidding. It was because of slavery. Slavery was, in an economic sense, pretty wonderful and critical for these southern states. From a humanitarian standpoint, it was a complete abomination. And Pinkerton shared that sentiment, having personally supported and funded abolitionist leaders. With his investigative background, Pinkerton served as the head of the Union's intelligence service. During his tenure, he uncovered various assassination plots to kill President Lincoln, apparently not all of them, provided estimates of Confederate troop numbers to Union generals, which were highly inaccurate and actually detrimental to the war effort, and even worked undercover as a Confederate soldier on multiple occasions. Howdy, y'all, where can I find
That's
a tumble
crazy, and he just started as a barrel maker.
weed?
Where can I find a tumbleweed? That's exactly how I would be. Man, I would be so obvious.
Fuck is this guy? He got found out real quick.
Yeah.
Almost died, actually, but not yet.
Oh, I thought this was the moment, okay?
So yeah, while he was very successful in his pre-war detective work, he wasn't exactly Sherlock Holmesing it on the war front. But anyway, after the South got their peanuts boiled, Pinkerton returned to his detective work, mainly attempting to catch train robbers. Keyword being attempting. By the 1870s, age was catching up to him, as you can see by his beard getting longer and presumably grayer. After failing to catch infamous outlaw Jesse James, financial support started slipping. Well, in 1884, ironically enough, it would be Allen himself who would be slipping as well. Although it's often debated, the most popular story surrounding Pinkerton's death was that he had slipped on the pavement while out on a stroll. He jammed his jaw onto the ground and he sunk his teeth into his tongue.
Oh, that is so unfortunate, man.
Going untreated, the wound festered and turned gangrenous over the following days,
It was because of the tongue?
sending Pinkerton to the private eye in the sky. So, fun fact, the same exact thing actually happened to my real-life sister. You know, minus the gangrene and death. Will you quit horsing around? She's just gonna have to learn.
Oh, and learn she did, and learning she did. Oh, Houdini!
Any fella or fellette worth their salt knows who Harry Houdini is. Or was. Six Flags Great Adventure, Houdini's Great Escape, 10 out of 10 ride. Even though you know he's one of history's greatest magicians, you probably don't know how he actually died.
No, actually, I do, but I forgot with my medium dementia.
Because he's in this video, yeah. The real-life slippery little magician came from humble beginnings. Born Eric Weiss in Austria-Hungary, teeny-weeny pre-Houdini and his family fled Europe in 1878 when he was just 4 years old.
Why does America have breasts? Wait, what? Why are there boobies? Why is it blushing?
4 years old. His family struggled financially, hopping from place to place in the United States, before finally settling down in 1887. In East New York City, poorly raised, in a circus is where he spent most of his days, chilling out, zipping and flipping up high from the swinging trapeze above the gals and guys. He soared up through the air and his act was pretty good. Started making money in his neighborhood.
Fresh Prince?
Put on his little tights and the
Pretty
people
nice.
just stared. They said, "There goes itty bitty Eric. He's the prince of the air." Thank you. Flip forward
I
a few
love
years
that.
to
That was
1891,
awesome.
and
Very,
Eric traded
very
in the
good.
trapeze for the ease of traps. He also traded in his name. Eric Weiss became Harry Houdini, an amalgamated name created as a tribute to magicians Harry Keller and Jean-Eugène Robert Houdin.
Oh, that's
Houdini
why.
performed various acts with his younger brother Theodore, and initial audience reception was But after meeting a fellow performer of the female variety and wifing her up, and also replacing his brother in the process,
Damn, poor brother.
the husband and wife duo performed as the Houdinis in the late 1890s. Right before the turn of the century in 1899, Harry would soon be unable to escape his astronomical rise to fame. After meeting several managers and impressing them with his acts, he began booking performances across the
I love that it's just like he jumps up and you see a flash of fire and that's it.
nation and soon across the Atlantic in Europe. In just a year, Harry and his wife went from starving artists to raking in a modern-day equivalent of tens of thousands of dollars a month.
Crazy,
Houdini soon
that's
became a
nice.
household name. Cuffs, cars, cans, crates, there was nothing from which he couldn't escape. He and his thunderous quads and milky hamstrings even challenged the public to construct traps and bindings to hold him. Nothing could. Straitjackets? Not a problem. Locked water-filled tanks? Easy peasy. The belly of a beached sea critter? Simple stuff. Now, what was unique about Houdini was that his acts were very real. Sure, there were a few tricks here and there as fail-safes, but if unsuccessful, Houdini faced the very real possibility of serious injury or death. But that was the whole thrill of it. That was the draw. Crowds flocked to see if his latest stunt would end up being his last.
That's actually crazy. Are people then there because they want to see him succeed? Or are people there because they want to see him fail?
This is it. Oh, maybe not.
There has to have been people in there that were like, oh yeah, I hope he dies. That's crazy.
Despite escaping from boxes, tombs, chains, or sealed rooms, Houdini couldn't escape that one inevitability: death itself. It's just a shame that the master of defying death would die in such a stupid, stupid manner. On October 22nd, 1926,
Hey, why are we in the back rooms?
at the age of 52, Houdini was resting backstage while performing at the Princess Theatre in Montreal. A few Canadian fellers no-clipped into Houdini's dressing room to have a chat about the performance. One student, Jocelyn Whitehead, came forth and questioned Houdini's amazing claim that he could withstand any punch to his stomach. Now, according to witness testimony, mainly the students who were right there with him, Whitehead reportedly delivered 5 devastating blows to Houdini's abdomen before Houdini even had time to properly react. Think fast, eh? Houdini initially brushed this incident off and continued performing in agonizing pain.
That's crazy. Without him even being able to react, that's not even fair. That's like bitch-like.
For the next few days, he developed a 104-degree Fahrenheit fever.
Okay, you know what? I don't think I knew how he died. I think I saw something else about Houdini.
Turns out the blunt force trauma had contributed to Houdini's appendix full-on rupturing.
Wow.
Doctors had managed to remove the busted
Wow.
organ, but all the toxic appendix juices had already leaked into and poisoned his body by then.
Bitches.
Succumbing to peritonitis,
So if that didn't happen, he would not still be here, but he would have still lived.
Houdini's final act was escaping this mortal coil on Halloween Day, 1926.
That's
Spooky.
crazy. Collier Brothers Collier?
Ah, now this is 2 stupid deaths for the price of 1.
Buy one,
now, to be
get
honest,
one.
it's pretty sad. Homer and Langley Collier were 2 rather eccentric brothers from the same mother. Mama was an opera singer and Papa was a gynecologist, so both parents were familiar with peeling back some curtains. Having successful parents gave the boys bountiful bank accounts and solid educational opportunities. Homer studied maritime law, while Langley studied chemistry, engineering, and was a whiz at tickling the ivories. They lived in a large Harlem brownstone row house in New York City. Dad died in 1923 and Mom died in 1929. Now, once Mama Collier bit the dust, the now 40-something-year-old brothers remained in the family home while still going about their daily lives. That is, until the back of Homer's eyes blew the fuck out. With his brother now fully blind, Langley chose to quit his career to become a caretaker.
How did that
Doing
happen
so,
though? You
both
can just say that and not explain.
brothers became reclusive and cut themselves off from the rest of the world. Over the years, the economics of Harlem began to shift, as did the growing fear of crime, all the more solidifying the brothers' decisions to be shut-ins. They wanted nothing to do with society, but society began gaining a curiosity with them. Now, it was no secret that the brothers came from money. Everyone knew it, including the newer, less economically inclined neighbors. That being the case, the brothers' fears soon became reality. people
Please return this brick. It's my only one. I'm poor.
began attempting break-ins. In response, the brothers boarded up their broken windows and sealed any and all entrances and exits. But they didn't stop there. They wanted some insurance that even if someone did break in, they wouldn't get very far. So Langley engineered several defensive traps throughout the home, like full-on Home Alone type shit.
Oh shit.
Now, what the public didn't know was that the brothers were hoarders, like real bad hoarders. Over the years, mountains of newspapers, books, and useless junk and garbage piled up to the ceiling in nearly every room.
Oh, you know what? I think I've seen a Mr. Ballin episode about these guys. Because it sounds oddly familiar, and I have a hunch about how this is gonna end.
Walls of knickknacks and tunnels of trinkets. The brothers would reportedly sleep in nests fashioned out of the debris.
Wow.
Of course, this lifestyle was pretty friggin' unhealthy.
Yep.
And this only exacerbated Homer's poor health condition. Within a few years, he became paralyzed due to inflammatory rheumatism. With the combination of having nearly 15,000 medical books strewn about their home and being sons of a medical professional, the brothers actually distrusted doctors.
Go to a real doctor, also the game. Wow. Wait, why did I distrust real doctors if their dad was one?
Langley actually refused to let anyone ever see or even speak to his disabled brother.
Why?
He believed that even if he did take Homer for a medical evaluation, the doctor would essentially put his brother in a grave that much faster. Instead, Langley opted for a strict regimen of
And what did your brother want?
oranges, bread, and peanut butter scavenged from various midnight strolls to restore Homer's vitality and vision. Didn't work. In fact, the brothers' untimely deaths would be a product of their own paranoia. In 1947, an anonymous tip-off to police reported the smell of decomposition coming from the home. They investigated and, after no response from within the home, were forced to break in. The officers were shocked to find the endless piles of densely packed trash just stuffed throughout the house. It took several men several hours to remove just a small percentage of it, just enough to find the corpse of Homer Collier, bent over in a bathrobe, dead from starvation. With Langley nowhere to be found, the police assumed that he was the one who called in the tip and skipped town. But that wasn't the case. The cleaning effort of the home continued for over a month. That's when they finally found Langley. He had been there the whole time, crushed under debris from one of his own traps that he accidentally set off.
This is what I thought. I think I have heard about this one before. That's crazy. Oh god, and then the brother just died out of starvation because his brother wasn't here to feed him.
The trap had pinned the 61-year-old to the floor.
That is so sad. Also, the fact that there was so much stuff there that it took them a month. It took them a month to find him.
Suffocating him. Without his care, Homer had wasted away, paralyzed and blind, unable to help himself in any way. Told you it was sad.
David Grundman?
Alright, now this is easily the most stupid death on the list, pretty much because it was well-deserved and self-inflicted. Say hello to David Grundman. Hey
Hi,
there.
David.
He's an idiot. Hey. Now say hello to this, a saguaro cactus.
Hi, cactus.
They're the type of
Saguaro
cactus you think of when you think of a cactus with its stereotypical cactus shape. Look how cactusy it looks. Now that's
Very.
a cactus.
Very
So when it
much
comes
so.
to David Grundman, there's not really much known about the guy. Why would there be? He wasn't famous, wealthy, notorious, or otherwise notable. He was just some dude who made a bad choice. Sorry, David, but it's true. In 1982, a 27-year-old David and his roommate James decided to have themselves an exciting day. Now, when you live in the middle of the blistering balls hot region of Satan's asshole, Arizona, you gotta get creative. So David and James carted themselves into the desert for some rootin' tootin' recreational shooting. Problem is, there's nothing too exciting to shoot at in the goddamn desert. Well, almost nothing. You got some snakes, deer, sheep, and a big old bug, but they mostly required permits and such. So instead of blowing out the brains of various animals, the two fellas decided to take their aggressions out on a particularly vertical saguaro cactus.
Okay.
Now, if you're unaware, these bad boys are huge, much larger than you'd imagine a cactus to be. Saguaro cactuses, cacti,
Okay, I did not know that it was that big.
cactuses have been known to grow as high as 80 feet.
Holy
That's like at least
shit.
3 meters or whatever. And if you see one with multiple arms, it's highly likely that that cactus is well over 100 years old.
Really?
At their peak, a single full-grown saguaro
That's
cactus
amazing.
can weigh nearly 5,000 pounds or 2,300 kilos. With that in mind, David and James sought to cut a particularly
Oh my god, did it fall on them?
Girthy
Did
cactus
it
down
fall
to
on
size.
them?
In lieu of an axe, however, they opted to cut the cactus down the way our founding fathers intended, with a firearm. Lifting his shotgun, David did a trial run, first taking out a juvenile cactus.
That's a kid!
After sticking it to the little prickle, David took aim at a much larger target, a 27-foot tall tower of spines. But instead of blowing through the junk in its trunk, he pointed his weapon at one of its many branches. Guess he wanted to disarm it first. Well, he would
Very
end up
funny.
being successful in that venture. Yeah, a little too successful. According to reports, David's shotgun slug
Giant cactus fell shooter who felt it. A 27-year-old North Phoenix man shot a saguaro Thursday afternoon and was killed when it fell on him, authorities said. Maricopa County Sheriff's deputy said David M. Grundman of 3932 blah, 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 reportedly fired at least 2 rifled slugs from a 16-gauge shotgun at a 26 to 27-foot saguaro and started to shout, "Timber!" He only had enough time to say Tim before a 23-foot section of the cactus fell and crushed him. Now, why would they put that in? Oh.
managed to blow off one of the cactus's arms. The arm, reportedly weighing nearly 500 pounds itself, fell several feet and landed right on top of David, crushing the man in a sudden catastrophic death.
That's
the point
very
here
dumb
is, don't mess
and
with a cactus.
stupid.
It's not the
Yes.
sharpest idea, and you just end up looking like a prick. Thanks again to
Very
Incogni
funny.
for sponsoring this video. Remember to use code CHAT to get 60% off of an annual plan.
Yes,
All right, roll
Chad,
the
do
outro.
it.
Hi! If you like the video, please make sure that you like it and subscribe to my channel and turn on notification bell if you want to see more of it. I also go live on Twitch and on this YouTube channel, so come join us sometimes. Bye!